The paranormal. As far back as the 1st century AD, humans have speculated the idea of ghosts. Souls lost in the afterlife, poltergeists, demons, angels, specters. No one can truly know what they are, only if they exist or do not. My name is Carter Cole, a film student in Denver, Colorado. Tasked this semester with creating a short documentary, I decided what's really better than documenting a nice, good spook. I'm here to answer the question, do ghosts really exist? Before I set out on my journey, I decided to interview a local paranormal expert on their haunting experiences.
Thank you.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I do believe in ghosts. I have had direct contact with paranormal entities. So there's a renowned, very haunted bridge out in Aurora called the Third Bridge. It's the Ghost Bridge, as everybody calls it. And so all of us, being stupid and young, we went out there in the middle of the day and with about 10 very loud guys. So we're walking around, wandering under this bridge, and my friend goes off to take a pee, and he comes back, and he's freaking out because he says something hissed at him. He's saying something hissed at him. So I'm thinking in my head, no, nothing hissed at you. Nothing actually. It might be scary here, but I don't think you got hissed at. Things started to get weird when we saw a dead cow off in the distance, freshly dead cow. It had about 3 flies around it. Nothing was trying to eat its carcass. It was brand new. There was no signs of anything. So we were looking down at this dead cow, and my friend looked up and said, "Oh shit!" And we all looked across this clearing, and there was another cow. This cow stood completely still for 30 seconds and did not blink, and that was incredibly harrowing. I really started to want to see something. I felt the vibe of I want to connect to the dead right now. I want to, or something. And subsequently, I also had to pee. I was looking out in the distance behind this tree and just focusing on how badly I wanted to see a ghost or something. Just show me an energy, show me anything. And so loud, clear as day, this far away from my face, something hissed at me so loudly that I completely stumbled, almost fell over, and sprinted to my friends. And I never went back to the Ghost Bridge after that.
It was all so exciting. The stories, the horror of it all. Peter's pea tale had lingered in my mind. I had to admit, I longed for the piss hiss, and I couldn't deny it to myself any longer. And so, me, Peter, along with our friends Landon and Ian, headed down to the bridge. The bridge itself is riddled with tragedy, lying only hundreds of feet from where an old Native American massacre had occurred, as well as the site of not just one, but 2 fatal car crashes. Only about 20 years apart, both crashes consisted of young teenagers up to nothing more than a wild night of thrill-seeking at the infamous Ghost Bridge. It's said that the drums of the slain tribe can still be heard echoing into the night, as well as the screams of the teenagers. The stories were harrowing, and even I was getting a little bit spooked. But that fear only drove my curiosity further. With a couple infrared cameras and an electronic voice phenomena recorder that I got on Amazon for only $29, the hunt was on.
We are out here at Third Bridge in Bennett, Colorado.
While it wasn't captured on sound or camera, the first thing we all noticed as we arrived was the echo of a distant thud, not unlike the supposed tribal drums I had read about.
So, hello, spirits, if there are any with us. I'm Carter. This is Landon, Peter, and Ian. We're a film crew trying to do a documentary on the afterlife, pretty much, the supernatural. And if there's any of you guys here, we just want to hear what you have to say, talk to you. We know there are several incidents here a massacre a long time ago and some car crashes since then. Am I talking to any of you?
Our first EVP session didn't prove to show much, but to be fair, I wasn't asking the most welcoming of questions.
Did you die here?
We decided to head under the bridge, where most of the activity was alleged to be.
This is Carter again, trying to reach out to any spirits that are with us. We are here under the best intentions of research and just goodwill. You welcome us onto your area.
At this point, we heard a male scream far off in the distance.
What was that?
Ian said he heard some similar noises earlier in the night, but I wasn't buying it.
Are you making that noise? Was that you communicating with us?
No reply. I felt like a dad trying to get their son to play baseball with them, and in this metaphor, I wasn't even sure if my son existed. We headed further into the area, hoping for anything. Passing piles of branches, a plethora of graffiti, a mattress, and many needles that I'm sure weren't COVID vaccines. It certainly was starting to feel like the infamous Ghost Bridge. As we ventured out further, unseen on camera, we ended up finding the source of the thuds. Unfortunately, this was actually the sound of a very old, nearby water pump. My excitement fell quickly as my ghost hunting became myth-busting. Still hoping to get something, we conducted one final session atop the bridge before leaving.
I'm starting to think there's nothing around here. No paranormal presences or anything. Do you welcome us here? Are you angry?
At this moment, unheard on the EVP, we heard a long groan nearby.
What was that? Dude, that was like right there.
We thought it had to be a cow, but even then, I had never heard such a vigorous moo.
Yeah, no, that was...
What was that?
I don't know, it sounded like a cow.
Following right after, and perhaps what spooked me most that night, a car sped down the bridge as a woman in the passenger seat yelled at us.
Okay.
It's hard to make out her sentence, but she definitely yells, "Fucking run." So, feeling more in danger from reckless drivers than anything, we decided to call it a night. Though the hunt was over, I was still eager to closely listen to the EVP's recordings, hoping maybe it had caught something that we hadn't. As I sat at my computer listening for the tiniest of whispers, I began to realize why the recorder was only $29. As mentioned, I wasn't able to hear the yells in the distance, or even the cow we heard right beside us. Mulling it all over, even if the recorder had caught them, I chalked up the screams to those reckless drivers, the drums to the water pumps, and the groan to the moo of a cow. Whether it was fault by my part or the equipment's, no evidence of the paranormal were discovered that night. This is where most would say the narrative ends. Myth busted. I myself am just at the beginning. While the hunt was more or less of a fail, I had a blast, and I knew it wasn't my last ghost adventure. Maybe that's what was so exciting about it all. The indefinite answers, the need to believe in it. Really at the center of it, I still felt like a mindless toddler. Not knowing anything for sure, yet still crawling for answers with vigorous ambition. Well, till the next hunt, I'm Carter Cole, and I just want to say, thanks for perusing the paranormal with me.